Hi, Matthew. Thank you for coming in today to interview for Austin High School's special education program position. We have a few questions that we'd like to ask you to get to know how you would teach your students in the special education classroom. Firstly, we are really interested in hiring a teacher who can use technology effectively. What will be your approach to using a technology in your classroom, and why have you selected that approach? Please provide a concrete example of what this approach might look like in your classroom. What kinds of resources do you feel you need to take this approach in your classroom?
Well, first off, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to interview with you guys. It means a lot. As a future special education teacher at your school, there are numerous ways in which I plan to use technology effectively. The process for effectively using technology in the classroom starts with me, identifying ways that I can include technology in which not only use a variety of technological tools to complete assignments and or create projects that demonstrate students' understanding of content, but that can be applied in a real world context. If you start thinking about the Triple E framework, this is one third of it. So you start asking yourself if the technology that you're using creates a bridge between school learning and everyday life experiences, or allows students to build skills that they can use in their everyday lives. This is so important in a special ed classroom because one of our most important learning outcomes are our students' life skills. For example, I might want to teach a lesson on buying something, which could include researching a product or simulating purchasing one. This would fulfill the standard of teaching students an important life skill, like I said, shopping and researching, but it would also give students the opportunity to practice using technology tools like a computer or the internet. Both are which very useful in the real world. And it would allow me to address those two ITSC standards, digital citizenship and knowledge constructor, by addressing things such as investigating the real reliability of a consumer site and how that affects what personal information you might provide.
Thank you, I really like that idea. Our school enrolls students from diverse backgrounds with different academic strengths and challenges. How might we create lessons and use technology to help support these differences in ways that allow our students to be successful?
Well, as teachers, it is our job to make sure all our students receive an equal education. I think we are very fortunate to have technologies that break down the language and ability barriers that in the classroom. A great tool for ESOL students is Skype. Skype has a translator tool that allows you to use their services with live translation. Voice translation is available in several languages, while chat translation is available in over 50 languages. This would be a great tool not just for lessons, but for assignments, since it would break down that language barrier and allow students to collaborate. On another note, I'm familiar with several different forms of assistive technologies that I can pair with my students to help them overcome their disability and meet the learning objectives. This could be in the form of a hearing aid for someone with a hearing impairment, or a nonverbal student using an iPad to speak through a voice app.
Wow, those ideas are really innovative. Thank you. Some of our teachers recently attended a conference where the focus was on students as designers and makers with technology. They also reported the use of the phrase students as producers commonly at the conference. What does it mean when students are designers, makers, and producers with technology? And is this something we should take seriously as we consider how to use technology across our school?
Definitely. Students as producers, in my opinion, is one of the most important products of integrating technology in the classroom. When students are producers, they are using technology to demonstrate their understanding of something in a way that is much more useful than we just by giving a pen and paper. When students are designers, makers, and producers, they are all given the opportunity to collaborate and share their ideas through programs or software to create a presentation, prepare for a paper, or make a video. For example, I can assign students to make a book trailer to demonstrate their understanding of a text. Having students utilize a video recording device and editing program not only demonstrates their understanding of the book, but it gives them the opportunity to work with technology that may be useful in their everyday lives and introduces them to a potential career. Another example would be if I assign students to take notes on Google Drive. Again, a great tool to become familiar with, especially since it can be very useful in the real world. but it sets up students to collaborate by each of them contributing their strengths to put together the best possible product. This would be very useful in my future classroom since there are an array of differently abled students. Lastly, these technologies will break down some social barriers that many students will have in a group collaborative setting.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you. Our district is really pushing global education, and next year this needs to be part of our school improvement plan. What's your perspective on global education? How can it be implemented well? What are the benefits of this type of teaching and learning?
Well, I believe making students global educators is important school-wide, but especially in a special ed classroom. When you start thinking about what it means to be a global educator, you think one, using digital tools to connect with learners from a variety of backgrounds and cultures, and two, using collaborative technologies to work with others. These couldn't align more with what I'm aiming to achieve in my classroom. We use technology as a primary source of communication in almost every aspect of our daily lives. Making students global educators would help check off the life skills that are and so desperately need to be taught in a special ed classroom. That is, familiarizing students with using technologies such as Skype, a cell phone, or email, while teaching them how to use it in an appropriate social context. This all of which is very important in everyday life. Again, more importantly, since there will be an array of differently abled students in my classroom, making students global educators will break down the social barriers that many students will have in a group collaborative setting. And of course, some of the technologies have translating capabilities, which would break down the language barriers that many ESOL students have in a group collaborative setting.
Thank you so much for coming in today, Matthew. I've really enjoyed getting to hear your ideas on the special education program and how we can improve it. We should be getting back with you very shortly about the position.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I look forward to hearing from you soon.